right, so I'm going to show you what we're going to make today and how we're going to make it. This is a fading character select screen. You'll see what I mean here in just a minute, but we're gonna create this today for a create a mechanic. Okay, so we've got text at the bottom that says choose your starting character. You press down, goes to the next character, press down, goes to the next character, and it just rotates through. All right, so, and you can do the same thing going up. You could change it to going left or right as well if you'd like to do that. And then depending on which character you choose, it starts you in the game with that character. Don't worry about this. This was something that I was working on, but it starts you in the game with the character of your choosing. Now, I've already created this, as you can kind of see here, but we're going to completely remake this with the RTP. And I may add or change some stuff as well, but I think this process is pretty good. Honestly, I like the way that it's set up now. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're on Tutorial Island here. Let's make a new map called Fading Character Select. Actually, no. We're going to make a new project and call it Fading Character Select. I'm going to start saving these as like full projects and then uploading them to something, Dropbox or something, where you all can download them and check them out for yourself. All right, now we've got a fresh new project here. First thing we're going to do is we are going to create a placeholder character. So let's do placeholder, and we're just going to take the graphic away. You don't have to do this. You can just choose a random character and turn transparency on, but I just prefer to have the name placeholder with a blank character. It's just easier for me for organization. We're going to do that. Let's get rid of this grass tile. There we go. And then let's set the panorama settings. We'll make it the one of my favorite ones, which is the starlit sky. We could also use a universe, I guess, and put the character maybe right there. That would look kind of cool, I think. So we're going to make an event right here. I'm not clicking anything correctly today. We're going to make an event right here. Just call it character. And we're not going to do anything in the contents of this. We're just going to call this character. We need to actually make sure that we remove everybody from the party except placeholder. Let's go ahead and create our character processing event. So we'll create an event, call it character select. I'm a big fan of using comments, so we're going to go ahead and do that. We'll just call this selection process. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, for this event, let's go ahead and start this on, what is this character's name? Reed. Let's go ahead and start this on Reed. All right, back in our character select event, under our first comment here, which is selection process, we're just going to create a variable, and we're going to call it character selected. And we are going to set it to 1 because it starts on Reed. Let's create a label that just says on Reed. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there might be a more streamlined way to do this. Let's change this label name to select process. And we want to create a loop. And let's create a conditional branch that says if button down is being triggered. And then we're going to make another conditional branch that says if character selected is equal to 1, then it's going to change the graphic of the character event to, where is change image? There it is, to this character. We got Reed, Priscilla, and Gale. Reed, Priscilla, and Gale. Let me make sure that they're like back-to-back characters. Okay. Yeah, Reed, Priscilla, Gale. Okay. Let's see. If character selected is equal to 1, we're going to change that image to Priscilla. We're going to add 1 to our character selected variable. Actually, you know what? We could just set it to, let's just set it to 2. Let's just set it to 2. And then it's going to go back up to the selection process. So jump to label selection process. Okay. And then we just want to copy this, paste this. If character selected equals 2, then we want to change the image to Gale. And we want to change character selected to 3. And then jump to selection process. Then we're going to go copy paste this one more time. If character selected equals 3, we're going to change the image to Reed. Okay. We're going to change the character selected variable to 1, and then we're going to jump to selection process. So, oh, these are differently named. So I have jump to label as selection. This is select. So let's fix this or else it won't work. So now we should be able to go ahead and play test it. We need to change this to auto run. We'll go ahead and play test it, and this should function as is. If we just keep pressing down, we should be able to cycle through the characters. So let's play test this and check it out. Down, down, down. There we go. So this is functioning correctly at the moment. All right. Now we just need to polish it up a little bit. And we also need to add triggers for up and okay. But first, let's go ahead and, as far as switching the characters, let's make that look a little better. So before it switches the image to actor, let's create like a fading transition. And then let's go ahead and add a sound effect too. I think the sound effect that I used in the project I was working on was a quip, which seemed like a good switching sound effect. I think that one's pretty good for a selection sound. We just want to put this at the top of each branch here. And let's make this a smooth transition. So we're going to change opacity at the top. Let's take it. Default opacity is 255. I usually like to do it in steps of 50. The only difference being between 200 and 255 because the extra 5. So we'll do opacity here. So this will be 150. This will be 100. This will be 50. This will be 0. And we're going to add some wait commands in between, but we need to take this and put it on the opposite end. So it looks like your character's fading in and out. And let's do a 3-second frame or a 3-frame wait. Oh, we need one more opacity command. 255. Okay. Delete, paste this, and we just need to change the actor image to Gale. Okay. And then copy and paste one more time. Uh-oh. Ah! And then change this to Reed. Okay. And now that should be a nice little fade transition. Let's take a look and see if it is aesthetically pleasing. I think that looks pretty good. It might be a little slow. I would almost maybe change the weight to... I would almost maybe change the weight to 2 frames. Also, the map loaded a little slow. I'm curious as to why that is. Let's change these wait frames to 2. We'll just leave it for character 1 there. And see how that looks compared to the other ones. Yeah, I think 2 frames is much, much better. 2 frames is much, much better. Also, with it loading like that, it seems like it's getting stuck in something, which is weird. I don't know. We'll look at that probably at the end. Let's go ahead and fix this. This looks much better. So we're just going to go ahead and add this to each of the branches here, because it's faster to just copy and paste than it is to go through and change them all to 2. And that's actually the case with a lot of eventing, like event commands. Let's bring this up. Okay, and now we basically want to do the reverse. So let's copy this, paste this, and then if up is being triggered, we just want this in the reverse order. So this needs to be character selected equals 3. Because we're starting on character 1. And this needs to be changed to Gale. Okay. And then if we're on character 2 and we press up, we want to go to character 1. And then set character selected to 1. And then if we're on character 3 and we press up, we want to change it to Priscilla. Okay. And then set character selected to 2. All right, and now we should have cases for both up and down. All right, up seems to work. And then we'll test it between a couple different... All right, All right, that is looking good. Now, you could do a nice little touch here, which is using the text-to-picture plugin to add maybe the name of the character above them. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's a Launch DLC plugin. If you need to know how to add Launch DLC plugins, I have a short for that. Be sure to check that out. But it's an incredibly useful plugin. I've been using it a lot lately. I think it's very, 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 very useful. So be sure to download that and check it out. I said download. Be sure to install that and check it out. Let's go ahead and just add that plugin here. Text to picture. Okay.
A few moments later.
You know what? Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. We're way overcomplicating this. Way overcomplicating this. So let's get rid of all the text. Let's get rid of all of these text and show picture commands because we are way overcomplicating this. Let's make sure our base selection still works. Uh-oh. Along the way, I have broken a thing. Oh, it's because we're jumping to character name process, not selection process. This is going to be a fun one to edit. All right, there we go. Now we're back at a base level. Now let's try to do this the correct way. So let's split these movement routes. We do need an original show picture. This needs to be read. Do center, designation of the variable, character X, character Y. Okay. If you only wanted to see how to do the fading characters, then that part is done. And I'll go over all this at the end so that you all can understand it, so that it's easily understandable. Yeah, okay. So I think the X is fine for that, but the Y needs to be changed. The Y needs to be like -60. Take this and split it. And we want to show picture. We're going to go ahead and make a common event called determine character name, or let's just shorten it to determine name. I hate it when it cuts off the common events here at the end. Just going to do a conditional branch. If that's a switch, if variable character selected equals 1. Okay. Copy this, paste it a couple times. We want to use our plugin command for text picture. Select read. Okay. This can be Priscilla. This will be Gail. And then under each one of these, we want to show picture 1, but we want to show it at 0 opacity. We want to do character X, character Y. Okay. And the reason we want to show it at 0 opacity is because we want to show it fade back in. And now in our character select event, after the move picture takes the picture to 0% opacity, we want to call the common event determine name, and that will change the name. And we want to just do the same thing right under determine name, except we want it to go to 255 opacity. Now, we need to change these durations to 20 frames and turn the weight off. Okay, let's try this and see if Priscilla's name changes correctly. This is only one that we've done so far, but okay, it did update correctly, but as of right now, something is not correct. Oh, this is in the wrong place. We actually need to take this and put this up here, and now it should work. And then we need to put the character selected at the top so that it knows what name to change it to. Like I said, guys, don't worry. I'm going to explain this at the end. This would have been incredibly simple if it was just the fading character select, but I really like having the name fade in and out as well. I think it's a nice touch. It's a little bit of polish that you can add to your game. So we're gonna go ahead and leave that. We're gonna take this, put this in here. And really, we could put this in the common event, the move picture. Let's just do that. I feel like that would be easier. There we go. That should be way easier. Now we only have to determine name in between the animation cycles. We've still got to split this one. It works! Look at that. It does indeed work. So now we just need to take that and we need to do exactly that for the up triggers. We're going to copy this, minimize, let's delete all this up stuff that we made earlier. Go here, paste it. We'll change it to if button up is being triggered. And then if character selected is equal to 1, it just needs to change character selected equal to 3 and change the image to Gale. If you're on character 2 and you press up, you want it to go up to 1. And then we want to change the image to Reed. And then if you're on character 3, you want it to go up to, oh, you want it to go up to 2. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. You want it to go up to 2, and then you want to change the image to Priscilla. And now this should work perfectly. All right, we have got a fading character select. The only thing left to do now is create a handler for when you press OK. So let's go ahead and just load a sample map real quick. We can do world 1, and we'll go to our common event or our selection process here. And then we just want to do one more conditional branch. So let's minimize this. We want to do one more conditional branch if the OK button is being triggered. And what we want to do here is create a conditional branch for each variation of character selected. So if character selected is 1, 2, or 3. If character selected is equal to 1, what we want to do is we want to change party members. We want to remove, well, first let's add Reed. We'll go ahead and initialize them. And then we want to remove our placeholder character. And then we want to transfer player to the world map. We'll just transfer them right here coming out of this cave, facing down. We want to put add, oh no, we had add placeholder. We want to remove placeholder. We want to remove placeholder in each of these. Make sure that you remove them. And I like to, I like to add the character first before I remove them. I don't really want a party of 0. Add Priscilla. And then add Gale. Then we want to take our transfer event and put it here. And then for each of these, we just want to make sure we exit event processing. I don't know if this is actually necessary, but just in case some wonkiness happens, we get stuck in this event, we just want to completely exit event processing. Okay. And we should be good to go. This should completely work now. So let's go ahead and just choose Gale. Press OK. Oh, whoa, we got to fix that. But it did choose Gale, which is good. We just have to erase Gale's name, and then we need to add a fade out for when you press OK before you get to see the character being added to your party. So let's fade out screen. We'll wait 30 frames. I'm not sure how long the built-in fade out takes. And then we just need to erase picture number 1. Okay, let's see what that looks like. This time we will choose Priscilla. Go down to Priscilla here. Let's choose Priscilla. Oh, we didn't fade the screen back in. Rip. And actually, I think instead of fading out, we could just, I think you can transfer the player before these other events. Let's try that. There we go. I think I want to wait to erase the picture though. There we go. So we just need to move these up. Oh, that would be why, because we had to erase picture twice. Well, this maybe does need to be at the top then. We'll try it there and see what happens. Perfect. Perfect. So that's the exact placement that we want. We'll just put erase picture under each of these. And there you go. That should work flawlessly. This time we'll choose Gale again. Make sure everything works correctly. And there we go. You now have a fading character select screen. Okay, let's go over this. We're only going to go over maybe like 1 or 2 selections because all the selections are pretty much the same. Actually, let's collapse all these to make it a little easier to understand. Okay, so we're going to have the players start here. I made a placeholder character so that everything's blank. You don't have to do that. You can just choose any member and just make them transparent, but I prefer to have a placeholder because it's just easier for organization for me. So in our auto run event here, we have an event on the screen called character, this event right here. And I just add comments to my stuff. You don't have to, I just choose to. We're going to create a variable called character selected, and we're going to set it to 1, which is going to put it on our first hero. we're going to have the coordinates of the character, the screen coordinates, not the map coordinates, the screen coordinates of that character set to these variables so that we can use text to picture. You don't have to use text to picture if you don't want their names to show up, or if you'd rather use like show text or something. You don't have to use this. I just choose to use this. I think it looks much better, much cleaner. And then all this does is subtract 60 from the Y coordinate so that instead of being dead on the character, the name will rise above the character. We then use a plugin command called text to picture to set the text to read, because that is the first character that's automatically selected or shown. And we have the picture show at those coordinates, so it shows right above Reed's head. And now we create a label called selection process. Under selection process, if the down button is being triggered, it's going to check to see what character selected is currently at. Okay, so if character selected is 1, it's going to play a nice little sound effect indicating that you've changed to a different character. It's going to change the variable to 2 so that you are now on the second character selected. It does the first part of changing the character, which is slowly fading it to 0, the image to 0. Then it's going to determine the name. And in our common event determine name, it moves the picture, which is the name of the character. It doesn't actually move it. It changes its opacity to 0 so that the name will fade out with the character. Then it goes through and determines which character you have currently selected. And depending on that, it will change their name. And it does this show picture command at 0 opacity because in order to refresh the picture with the new character name, you have to do a show picture. Move picture will not work. Move picture will just take the original name that you had. So we need to show picture again. It's going to show it at 0 opacity. Then afterwards, it's going to have it fade in over 20 frames, but you have to make sure wait for completion is not checked. This will ensure it is able to fade in with the new character. Let's go back to our event here. Once it's determined the name, you'll see that the image for the character that you have moved on to gets changed in this move route, and then its opacity slowly comes back to full over like 10 frames or so. And then all it's going to do is jump back up to label selection process, which is the top of this loop. And so basically it runs that exact scenario for each version of character selected. So if character selected was 3, if you were on Gale, it would change your character select to 1 because you're pressing down. And so, you know, you're going 1, 2, 3. If you go down from 3, it goes back up to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then it runs the same sequence of events. Except this time in the move route, it will change the actor's graphic back to read. And it does basically the same thing, but the opposite for up. Because obviously if you're on character 1 and you press up, you want to go to character 3. And it runs the same series of events. And then if OK gets pressed, what it does is checks to see which character you have currently selected. It will transfer you to the world map, and as it transfers you, it's going to erase the picture, which is the character's name. We do this after the transfer event so that the name still shows on screen. If it erases the name too early, it looks a little odd. It's going to change your party members to remove placeholder and add whatever character that you have currently selected. And that's it. I was getting a little too in the weeds with it, trying to make the transition look really smooth. We ultimately decided to go with a common event to handle names and the name transition, the picture transition. Going forward, I am going to be hosting these projects. I'm going to make each create a command or create a mechanic that I make. I'm going to be making them their own project, and I'm going to be hosting those projects on like Dropbox or maybe like some sort of file sharing service, file downloading service, so that you all can just download these projects, crack them open, and look at them yourself to see how it was created, and maybe, copy it or use it to learn from. But that is all for this creative mechanic. We did it. I think it looks pretty good. I'll be using some variation of that probably in a future game. But thank you for making it to the end of the video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.